Good morning, students. Welcome to grade 10 NCERT CBSE Democratic Politics, Chapter 6, Political Parties. The lesson begins with the question, why do we need a political party? Why the question is asked in the lesson, there is a reason behind it. Political parties are the most visible institution in any democracy. There are many institutions in a democracy such as legislative, executive, judiciary, media, army, defense, police, and so many other government departments. But all these, only the political parties are most closely associated or related with the public life and day-to-day life. For most citizens, political parties, democracy is all about only the political parties. For innocent people or uneducated people don't know anything about our constitution or nature of our government, but they talk about politics and political parties. Which is the political party founded, when was it was founded, who was the founder, and who is the ruling party in the central government and state government, who are the opposition party, who are the alliance, who are in the coalition government, everything they talk about, but they don't know anything, the basic idea of our constitution or the nature of government. And most of the people very critical about political parties, because most of the political parties are involved, the ruling government is power playing process, therefore they involve dirty tricks and they use money and muscle power to become a ruling party. Therefore most of the people are thinking they are most corrupt institution in any democracy, particularly in India. So they are not like any political parties for democracy, for the betterment of the people. This visibility does not mean popularity. For about 100 years ago, there is only a few political parties in a democracy, but now it is in inverse. Only few countries do not have any political party. The political parties are. We should understand why did the political parties become omnipresent in democracy all over the world. Before we understand the question of why we need a political party, and we must understand the meaning of the political party. Political parties are the group of people, they come together and contest elections. There is another group of social group exists in a democracy. They are called pressure groups. These pressure groups, like for example, Dravida Kazhagam DK, which was founded by E.V. Ramasamy Periyar, and there is RSS, which is all over India. It is a social group, a pressure group, and also there is another social group such as AITUC, that is All India Trade Union Congress. So these are the this group also is a group of people who have their own policies and programs, ideas. They want to uplift some particular group of people. So this is the difference between the social group and the pressure group and the political parties. Political parties mainly contest elections. Those pressure groups do not contest election, but they influence in the political party, the government, in making policies and programs. They hold power after elections. They hold power and they form the ministry and rule the country or government. Next, they have policies and programs for goodness of the society. This is parties have a fundamental political divisions and involve partisanship. First, you must understand what is partisanship. Partisanship is nothing but it is a tendency to take a side and inability to take a balanced view on an issue, as a party is known by which part it stands for. First, here you must understand the spelling partisanship. Partisan. This partition PARTISAN partition is spelling different, and this is another spelling PRTATION. This partition means division, divide, but this partition means a particular person who is very much attached with a political party, who is strongly committed to a party, and who has in a group or faction. Partisanship is marked by a tendency to take a side and inability to take balanced view on issues. This is called partisanship. Now we must understand the components of political party. There are three components in each political party: leaders, active members, and the followers. Who are the leaders? The group of people. In that there is a few or only one will become a very important person in the party. Those people are called a leader or leaders. For example, DMK was founded by Aringaranna. After Aringaranna, Karunanidhi came to the position, and he is leader of the DMK. And later on, after the death of Karunanidhi, Stalin came to power. Like that, ADMK was founded by MGR, and after the death of MGR, Jayalalitha became a leader of the AIADMK. And like that, if you take Congress, in the Congress, Jawaharlal Nehru was leader of the Congress party until his death. After his death, Indira Gandhi came to power, and she became the leader of the party. And after Indira Gandhi's death, Rajiv Gandhi came to power. So after death of Rajiv Gandhi, now Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi came to power. This is an example for the leaders in the political party. The active members means second level, third level, or fourth level leaders are becoming active members. They are leader of the particular region or zonal level, or east or west or south or north direction. They are the leaders of the particular region in the country, or state leader, and so on. They are, if it is a national party, each political party has its own leader for each state. So they are called active members. The followers are the people who are simply a member in any political party, and they work for the betterment of the party, and they propagate the political parties. When there is any meeting or conducted, they gather and they listen the leaders' voice and leaders' speeches. So they are called the followers. Now let us understand the functions of political parties. First, we must understand the political parties' major function is contest elections. In countries like India, top party leaders choose candidates for contesting elections. In countries like USA and UK, the party members or the supporters choose a candidate for elections. If you take China, in Communist Party, the Politburo member, who are the very topmost in the political party, they are called Politburo members. These Politburo members will choose the candidates. So these are the way the political party choose the candidate and contest elections. After elections, the party is divided into two categories, that is ruling party and opposition party. After elections, the party which gained the more number of seats in the legislative assembly or in the parliament, Lok Sabha, they form the government. They are called political parties. And the party who lost the elections, the party which become a opposition party, tries to put a check, and the party main role is tries to check the ruling party, and they criticize the policies if there is any failures or any laws for the government. They criticize the ruling party. So this is a role of opposition party. In India at present, BJP is and its alliance is a ruling party. Congress is ruling the opposition party. In Tamil Nadu, AIADMK is a ruling party, and DMK is role the opposition role in Tamil Nadu. And the next important function is party play a decisive role. So the decisive role means in a final decision. The political parties took part in the discussion in the parliament or in the legislative assembly in the states. They make a debate and made a complete discussion. Finally, it is given for voting, and the members, if more number of people accept the bill, then the bill will become a law. So they are making important role in decisive making laws in the country. And fifth one is the fifth function is access to government machinery and welfare schemes. That means the political parties provide people access to the government machinery and welfare schemes implemented by the governments. For an ordinary citizen, it is easy to approach a local party leader than a government officer. Therefore, the local party leader is becoming a bridge between the citizens and the government and machineries. Therefore, this is an important role of the party in the democracy. For example, during the Corona period, the government making so many facilities for the people for arrangement of transport from one region to another region, the migrated people to reach their native places. The political parties arrange transport facilities, and also the government provides some free grocery items. These are distributed in through the ration shop. So they are giving the government giving the token which day, which particular time they want to go and get, to avoid the making crowd all people to reach at a time. So they are plan everything. And another example, even the ruling party or opposition party, they distribute free of cost, even though the government is providing the grocery items. Some political parties and volunteers also is providing the free of grocery items in their locality. So these are the way the political parties are functioning in a democracy. And the sixth important function is policies and programs. That means the political parties put forward policies and programs for the betterment of the people. Parties put forward different policies for the voters choose from them. Political parties accommodate different views and opinions. So this is the way the political parties are different from each other. Then the people choose the party, which party is the best one, and they cast their vote. This is the way the political parties are making the role function of policies and programs. The seventh important function is shape public opinion. That means one of the most important function of the political party is to shape public opinion on relevant issues for the proper functioning of the government and to deepen the concept of democracy. So this is the list of functions of a political party. In a sense, answers the question of why we need political parties, because they perform many functions in a democracy. But still the question is asked to everywhere, why political parties are inevitable or indispensable part of a democracy. Let us understand. Without political parties, what would happen? Independent candidates in election. That means all the candidates, they do not belong to any political party. If there were no political party, then all the candidates would become independent candidate or individual candidate. They cannot make any promise to the public. No promise could be made, no agency to present different views on various issues, no mechanism to support or oppose the government. Then elected representative accountable only to their constituency. They do not responsible for from which they are not get elected. So therefore, these are the things will happen if there is no political party. Then for argument, we take example from within India. There is a practice, non-party based elections is undertaken in India to the panchayat in many states. The villages are divided into many smaller units called wards. Each of these wards put up a panel of its candidates. This is exactly what the political parties do. These democratic countries in the world, that is the reason we find political parties in almost all the democracies in the world. it does not matter the country is big or small, rich or poor, older or new, developed or developing countries. The rise of political parties is directly linked to the emergence of representative democracy. As we have seen, large societies need representative democracy. As we have seen, large societies need representative democracy. As societies became large and complex, they also need some agency to gather different views on various issues and to present these to the government. This lead to uncertain and unaccountable government, and also it lead to irresponsible government. Now let us understand the party system. There is a question is asked, given in the book. How many parties should we have? In a democracy, any group of citizens free to form a political party. In this formal sense, there are a large number of political parties in each country. More than 750 political parties are registered with the Election Commission of India, but not all these parties are serious contenders. Contenders in the elections. Usually, only a handful of parties are effective and they get victory in the race of elections and form the government. So the question is now, how many major or effective parties are good for a democracy? In some countries, only one party is allowed to control and run the government. These are called one-party system. In class 9 last year, you studied that in China. This is China. Only the Communist Party is allowed to rule the country. Although legally speaking, people are free to form political parties, it does not happen because this electoral system in China does not permit free competition for power. We cannot consider one-party system as a good option because this is not a democratic principle. There must be at least two parties to contest in elections. People should, then only the people get the fair chance to choose their party. Any democratic system must allow at least two parties to compete in elections and provide a fair chance for the competing parties to come to power. In some countries, power usually changes between two main parties. Several other parties may exist, contest in elections and win a few seats in the national legislatures, but only the two main parties have a serious chance of winning majority of the seats from the government. Such a party system is called two-party system or bi-party system. This best example is United States of America, that is USA, and UK, United Kingdom. In United States of America, there is a Republican Party and Democratic Party. In UK, it is a Conservative Party and a Labour Party. These are, in these two countries, only two political parties are exist and they share their power between these two political parties only. In some other countries, several parties competing for power and more than two parties have a reasonable chance of coming to power either on their own strength or in alliance with others. We call it a multi-party system. Best example is India. We have a multi-party system. In this system, the government is formed by various parties coming together in a coalition government. When several parties in a multi-party system join hands for the purpose of contesting elections and winning power, it is called an alliance or a friend. For example, in India, there were three such major alliances in 2004 parliamentary elections. The National Democratic Party, that is NDA, led by BJP. The United Progressive Alliance, it is led by Congress Party. The third alliance is the Left Front. The multi-party system often appears very messy and leads to political instability. At the same time, this system allows a variety of interests and opinions to enjoy political representation. So, which of these is better? Perhaps the best answer to this very common question is that this is not a very good question. Party system is not something any country can be choose. It evolves over a long time depending on the nature of society, its social and regional divisions, its history of politics and its system of elections. These cannot be changed very quickly. Each country develops a party system that is conditioned by its special circumstances or social conditions. For example, if India has evolved a multi-party system, it is because the social and geographical diversity in such a large country is not easily absorbed by party system or one-party system or even three-party system. No system is ideal for all countries and all situations. Next topic in this lesson is kinds of political parties in India. That is, the Indian party system is divided into two categories based on their popularity in the country. There are 7 parties are popular all over the country, therefore they are considered as a national party. This party system is given by, the recognition of the party, whether it is a national party or regional party, is given by the election commission. It is a independent organ in the country. At the time of election, it holds all the government machineries under its control, and the election commissioner of India is appointed by the president. The election commission is most powerful organ in the Indian democracy. There are 3 commissioners in the chief election commissioner. The chief election commissioner is highest post in the election commission, and let us understand that which are the parties belonging in the national parties. Earlier only 6 national parties, now it is increased to one more political party is become a national party, that is Trinamool Congress. All India Trinamool Congress party became the new national party in the national party list. Now let us understand the ideas and concept of BJP. BJP is a short name of Bharatiya Janata Party. The Bharatiya Janata Party was founded in 1980. It came out or it became from the Bahujan Samaj, Bharatiya Jana Sangh. That is a earlier name of Bharatiya Janata Party. Now it is called Bharatiya Janata. Earlier it was called Bharatiya Jana Sangh. Keep it in mind. It stressed modern India on the basis of ancient Indian culture, values and ideas of integral humanism and Antyodaya, that means upliftment of weaker sections of the society. Its main idea or concept is Hindutva is the basic element of the party. It favors political integration of Jammu and Kashmir with India, because there is a controversial border between India, Pakistan and China. Therefore, after the general election of 1919, October, the present ruling party of India, the center, BJP, removed the Article 370. According to Article 370, now Jammu Kashmir is come under the total control of India, and the state is divided into two union territory, that is Ladakh and Jammu Kashmir. The next important is it is formed a National Democratic Alliance, that is NDA, National Democratic Alliance, in 1998 under the leadership of former Prime Minister Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee, and it was became a ruling party in 1998 first time. It emerged as the largest party with 282 members in 2014 general election under the leadership of Narendra Modi, and also in 2019 it once again it became a ruling party in the center with 303 individual single party. It became a single party in the Lok Sabha, and with the alliance it total is 353 seats out of 543. So therefore it became a second time also. Once again it became a ruling party at the center. Presently it leads the ruling party at the center. The next party is Indian National Congress, INC. INC means Indian National Congress. It is the oldest, one of the oldest party in the world, and it is the oldest party in India. It was founded in 1885. It dominated Indian politics at national and state level because it is a party which is existing before independence of India, and it built a modern secular democratic republic in India. Its main aim is to establish a modern democratic republic of India. It ruled from 1947 to 77 under the leadership of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Once again, after the death of Jawaharlal Nehru, Indira Gandhi became a Prime Minister of India in 1980 to 84. After her death, his son Rajiv Gandhi came to power in 1984 to 1989. In 1991, Rajiv Gandhi is died. Therefore, from 1991 to 96, it was under the leadership of P.V. Narasimha Rao became the Prime Minister of India at the time. And once again, 2004 to 2014, two term, that is 1 decade fully, it was a ruling party at the center. These are the different periods. The Congress party became a ruling party in India. It favors secularism and welfare of weaker sections and minorities. It's very important. It gives minority. Therefore, this party is becoming a centrist party. That means it support all the political parties, all the religion in the country, and it took a secular status. Therefore, it became a centrist party, whereas BJP became a mainly the concept is Hindutva. Therefore, it is considered as a rightist party, and the CPI and CPIM is called a leftist party. Let us understand what is that. And the third important political party is BSP, that is Bahujan Samaj Party, BSP. The full form of BSP is Bahujan Samaj Party. It is formed in 1984 under the leadership of Kanshi Ram. Keep it in mind, Kanshi Ram. Its aim to represent and secure power for the Bahujan Samaj, the people who are very low caste and minority. It want to uplift them. Therefore, it is called Bahujan Samaj. It includes the Dalits, Adivasi, and other backward communities and the religious minorities development. It follows ideas and teachings of Sahu Maharaj, Mahatma Jyotirao Phule, Thandai E.V. Ramasamy Periyar, and Baba Saheb Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. These are the leaders' ideas and their teachings where it follows, and it has its main base in the Uttar Pradesh and formal presence in Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Uttarakhand, Delhi and Punjab. In these states it is very popular, and therefore it became a national party. It is considered as a national party recognized by a election commission. It is formed a government in Uttar Pradesh by taking support of different parties at the different times. Its party member is now Mayawati. In the 2014 election, BSP polled out about 4% votes, but it did not secure seat in the Lok Sabha. The next important party is CPIM. The M refers to Marxism, that is a Marxist idea the party follows, therefore it is called Marxism, also Leninism. It is formed in 1964. It is a breakup in the former Communist Party of India, CPI, and in 1984 it was founded. It believes in Marxism and Leninism and supports socialism, secularism and democracy. It opposes imperialism and communalism and accepts democratic elections as the means of securing the objectives of social economic justice in India. It enjoys strong support in West Bengal, Kerala and Tripura, especially among the poor factory workers and farmers. It opposes the new economic policies and free trade. It won about the 3% of the votes and 9 seats in the Lok Sabha general election in 2014 election. Next important party is the CPI. This party was founded in 1925. It believes in Marxism, Leninism. Both parties, CPIM and CPI, are believing in the same ideas, but they are independent, separate political parties. It opposed to the forces of secessionism and communalism. It supports parliamentary democracy as a means of promoting the interests of the working class, farmers and the poor. It gets split in 1964 and led to the emergence of CPI-M, that is Communist Party of India, M. It has support in the states of Kerala, West Bengal, Punjab, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. Its performance declined over the years and it secured less than 1% votes and 1 seat in the 2014 general election, Lok Sabha general election. It proposes the coming together of all left parties to form a strong alliance of left front. The 60th important party is Nationalistic Congress Party, NCP. This party was founded in 1999 after the split in the Congress Party, that is Indian National Congress Party. It advocates democracy, Gandhian secularism, equity, social justice and federalism. This was the main concept of the NCP, that is Nationalist Congress Party. It demands that high officers in government, this is the main concept of the party, high post in the government to confined to natural born citizen of the country, that is only the citizens who are born in India and those person only can become the president or prime minister post in the country. So therefore at the time of 1999 election, Sonia Gandhi by birth she was Italian, therefore some of the Congress party leaders opposed that Sonia Gandhi become a prime minister of India, therefore the party is split into another new party, that is NCP. This was the main idea of the NCP. Then it is popular in the states of Maharashtra, Meghalaya, Manipur and Assam. Currently member of the United Progressive Alliance. In this alliance it is a member of the UPA. Let us understand the next topic. The next political party is All India Trinamool Congress, AITC. The party was founded in the year 1998 under the leadership of Mamata Banerjee. It is recognized as a national party in 2016. It committed to secularism and federalism. In power, it is a ruling party in West Bengal since 2011, and in 2014 elections it got 3.84% of votes and won 34 seats, became fourth largest party in the Lok Sabha. The next kind of party is a regional party. That means these parties are familiar only within the state or one or two or three states only. These parties are called regional party. It is recognized by regional parties by election commission. Let us understand the first one is the AIADMK, All India Anna Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam. This party is split from DMK. Earlier DMK was split from Dravida Kazhagam, and it was founded by Aringer Anna, and after Aringer Anna, Karunanidhi came to power, and he was till his death he was the leader of the party, and like that AIADMK was founded by M.G. Ramachandran in 1977, and till his death he was a Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu. And the next one is the Shiv Sena. This party was founded in 1966 by Paul Thackeray, and the next party is AAP, that is a Aam Aadmi Party. This party main aim is to make or establish a corruptless government. So this party was found. Now the leader was Arvind Kejriwal. He is ruling party in Delhi Union Territory. ADMK is now present ruling party in Tamil Nadu. Let us understand the major difference between the national parties and regional parties. The national parties have influence all over the country. The regional parties influence only a few states, one or two states only. National parties deal with national problems, whereas regional parties are concerned with the problems and the demands of the particular region only. The national parties give priority to the national problems over the regional problems, whereas the regional parties are active in the states. Whatever the issues in the particular states, they concentrate only those issues, or the region party or in the state in which they function. They focus on more on only the local problems. In order to become a national party, a party has to secure at least 6% of the total votes in Lok Sabha or Assembly elections in 4 states and win at least 4 seats in the Lok Sabha. For regional party recognition, the party should gain, the regional party should gain at least 6% of total votes in the legislative assembly election and win at least 2 states. It may be noticed in the 82 page, the regional parties, the symbol is given. Some of the parties have more than 2 regional parties have, because this is recognized by the election commission or allotted for them. Because it is a regional party, it is used in AIADMK in Tamil Nadu, Kerala Congress in Kerala, and there is one more, United Governance Democratic Party and Indigenous Nationalist Party of Tripura. So these are the major difference between the national party and regional parties. Now the next topic is challenges to the political parties in this lesson. There are 5 or 6 challenges that each and every political parties face. First, it is a lack of internal democracy. Concentration of the power is goes on only one hand or few leaders at the top. According to this challenge, lack of internal democracy, the political parties do not maintain membership registers and they do not have regular elections for various posts within the party. And there is one more, ordinary membership of the party do not get sufficient information, and the personal loyalty to the leaders become more important than loyalty to the party. So these are the major points that you have to keep in mind in the lack of internal democracy. The next important challenge is dynastic succession. According to this, in many political parties, the top position are always controlled by member of only one leader or its family members. So, for example, in the Indian National Congress, first Jawaharlal Nehru was Prime Minister and he controlled the political party. Next, Indira Gandhi came to position and she controlled till her death Indian National Congress. After her death, Rajiv Gandhi came to power. He was first son of Indira Gandhi, and till his death he was a leader of the party. And next after his death, his wife Sonia Gandhi come to power. Now Sonia Gandhi is given the power to his son Rahul Gandhi. So this is the example, best example for dynastic succession in the party. Like that in Tamil Nadu, Karunanidhi after Stalin, he became the leader of the party and he controls the party. This is best example for dynastic succession in the regional party and in the national party. As a result of this challenge, people who do not have adequate experience or popular support come to occupy positions of the power. The dynastic succession in some way or the other is present all over the world, even in some of the older democracies. The third important challenge is lack of meaningful choice. Lack of meaningful choice, that is in this challenge, the present democratic scenario, no party offers a meaningful choice to the voters. All the parties' ideas and their policies and programs more or less mirror the same. So there is no difference of ideas in their concept or in their values they hold. Recently, there has been a decline in the ideological differences among the parties in most part of the world. Those who want really different policies have no option available to them. For instance, the difference between the Labour Party and the Conservative Party in the Britain are more or less same. So there is only they are different how they are implement the policies and programs. In that only they are varying, but their concept and values, what they uphold is more or less same. This is a major. The last one is the last major political parties challenge is growing role of money and muscle power. The growing power of money and muscle power. So according to this challenge, most of the parties are focused only on winning elections. So they tend to use shortcuts or dirty tricks to win elections. Sometimes candidates are nominated on the basis of their money and muscle power. Rich people and companies give funds to the political parties at the time of election, and therefore they influence in the policies and decision making after they become the ruling party. In some cases, parties support criminals who can win elections. So these are the best examples that these are the challenges that faced by each and every political parties. The next topic is reformation of political parties, because there are so many challenges we discussed earlier. Now, how to overcome these challenges? How can parties be reformed? Let us understand now. In order to face these challenges, political parties need to be reformed. The question is, are political parties willing to reform? If they are willing, what has prevented them from reforming so far? If they are not willing, is it possible to force them to reform? Citizens all over the world face this question. This is not a simple question to answer. In a democracy, the final decision is made by leaders who represent the political parties. People can replace them, but only by another set of party leaders. If all of them do not wish to reform, how can anyone force them to change? Let us look at some of the recent efforts and suggestions in our country to reform political parties in India. The constitution was amended to prevent elected MLAs and MPs from changing parties. It is called defection. This was done because of many elected representatives were including in order to become minister or for cash rewards, they change the party from which they get elected. Now the law says that if any MLA or MP change his or her party, he will lose the seat in the legislature, that is in the Lok Sabha or in the Legislative Assembly in the state. This was new, has helped, new law helped bring defection down. At the same time, this has made any dissent even more difficult. MPs and MLA have to accept whatever the party leaders decide. The Supreme Court passed an order to reduce influence of money and criminals. Now it is mandatory for every candidate who contests elections to file an affidavit. Affidavit is nothing but it is details of the candidate, property and criminal cases pending against him or her. The new system has made a lot of information available to the public, but there is no system or mechanism of check if the information given by the candidate is true. As yet, we do not know if it has led to a decline in the influence of the rich and the criminals. The Election Commission passed an order making it necessary for political parties to hold their organizational elections, because it was discussed in the previous the challenges to democracy, challenges to the political parties. Therefore, the Election Commission ordered to hold their organizational elections and file their income tax returns. The parties have started doing so, but sometimes it is merely formality, because there is no any evidence what they are submitting to the public. It is not clear if this step has to greater internal democracy in political parties. Besides this, many suggestions are often made to reform political parties. A law should be made to regulate the internal affairs of political parties. This also is faced as one of the challenges in the political party system. So, the Election Commission made it are ordered to each and every political party to do this. It should be made compulsory for political parties to maintain a register of its members, to follow its own constitution, to have an independent authority, to act as a judge in case of party disputes, to hold open elections to the highest posts in the party. The next one is that it should be made mandatory for political parties to give a minimum number of tickets, about 1/3 of seats to women candidates. Similarly, there should be a quota for women in the decision-making bodies of the party. If they do this, then the challenges will be get reduced. There should be a state funding of elections, so this reduces the money and muscle power challenge. The government should give parties money to support their election expenses. This support could be given in the form of petrol, paper, telephone, etc. Or it could be given in cash on the basis of the votes secured by the party in the last election. These suggestions have not yet been accepted by the majority of the political parties. If and when these are accepted, this could lead to some improvement in the party system and democracy. But we must be very careful about legal solutions to political problems. Over regulations of political parties can be counterproductive. This will go negative. This would force all parties to find ways to cheat the law. Besides, political parties will not agree to pass a law that they do not like. There are two other ways in which the political party can be reformed. One is The people can put pressure on the political parties to make the suggestions made by the Supreme Court or the Constitution or by the Election Commission. This can be done through petitions, publicity and agitations. Ordinary citizens, pressure groups and movements and the media can play an important role in this. If political parties feel that they would lose public support but not take up reforms, they would become more serious about reforms. Two political parties, the second one is political parties can improve if those who want this, they can form or join the political parties and they regulate the political system of our country. The quality of democracy depends on the degree of public participation. This is most important. When more number of people are participating in the decision making or political party issues, then the political parties change their attitude and they will become a reformed one. It is difficult to reform political politics if ordinary citizens do not take part in it and simply criticize it from the outside. The problem of bad politics can be solved by more and better policies. We shall return to this the topic what we discussed from the first, the political parties. With this the lesson gets over. Now let us understand what you have learned in this lesson so far. After studying this chapter, you should be able to now understand the meaning of the political parties, kinds of political parties, functions and components of the political parties. Identify and you will get to identify the importance of the political parties. What would happen if there is no political party in a democracy? Then next we compare and different types of party system in India and in the world. It also is learned to recognize the national party and the state parties of India. Then we discussed the identify the challenges faced by the political parties and reforms. With this the lesson gets over. Thank you for watching the video.